Spoilers for Andor Season 2 in 3, 2, 1. All right, so we got a hot take from Star Wars Theory. SA in Star Wars feels unnecessary. You can portray power dynamics and making the audience hate the Empire in other ways without taking it to such a disgusting place. Vader wouldn't tolerate that shit, nor does the Empire condone it. How do you know that? How do you know that? It has no place in Star Wars, period. Unnecessary. My dude, they are space Nazis. That's who they are. There's no denying that. That's what the Empire is, was, will be. Darth Vader is not above what is tantamount to torture. One example is choking someone with the Force. What about all the younglings? What about that? You acting like the Empire is above any kind of assault on anyone is laughable, ignorant, and desperate.
I want more.
It smells of desperation.
And these were dark. They were sexy, they were violent, they were just absolutely wonderful, complicated, challenging. I mean, it would have blown up the whole Star Wars universe. And Disney definitely would have never offered George to buy the But
I feel like we live in, there's those timelines where like some shit goes wrong and you just get this like crap, like Back to the Future 2 when Marty went back to the 80s and it was like this skewed timeline where like Biff was like king of the land. I feel like that's the one we live in right now.
It's a complete wimp.
No, it's one of the great disappointments of our life.
That line got me, man. It's one of the great disappointments of our life because it's just after saying that Disney would never have purchased it because this would have blown up the Star Wars universe so huge. And it would have been so violent and just changed the whole scene of Star Wars in general that Disney would want nothing to do with it because it wouldn't really be that much of a family brand anymore. It would be like Game of Thrones, I'm guessing.
This whole operation was your idea.
Welcome to every video we make. We use one little thing and then we build the narrative out of it. Brie Larson says one fucking thing and we make a whole video out of it. That's what we do.
Words are flowing out like woke Mary Sue, objective truth. They don't mean much, but nothing ever does across the grift of
All right, you assholes.
You can pick up the softback trade paper.
The what now?
How do you do, fellow kids?
The f***ing what? Hey guys. Hey. How y'all doing? Check this out. You guys want to join and tell me what you think. We got Eric DeBunks and we got Bob Chaos here. What is it that he's what is he pointing to?
Why, what's the downgrade though? I don't understand what the downgrade is.
Well, one looks sexy and the other looks.
Which one do you want to fuck, Bob?
Listen, man, I'm just trying to put myself in Critical Drinker's mind. He probably fucks one of them.
Every hole's a goal, Bob.
All vaginas look like that mouth to him. That's the thing.
Probably.
Oh, God.
I mean, probably hasn't been around enough to even know what they look like. So
true. Vagina's filled with teeth, right?
Yeah.
I
saw that movie. Yeah. Oh man. So I mean, I'm laughing at this shit. Just every time I see it, I'm like, what the fuck is even? He's so lazy. And by the way, my voice is giving out, and it's also my partner's birthday today, so I might not stay on for about an hour or so.
Okay, that's fair. We can try and get through as much as we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, though, does he explain why it's a downgrade of the year? Or is it just
no?
Also, the picture on the left doesn't come from this year,
right?
So, I mean, I don't even know what that means. Downgrade of the year. I mean, it's one's from like 30, 40 years ago. The other one is recent. So
I know there's like 5 Predator movies in between these two as well.
Yeah.
And like, okay,
every
for one
predator
thing,
looks a bit different. I'm trying to figure out why it looks bad, but the other
for
one
one
looks
thing,
good. I mean,
I don't
Predator's
want to.
supposed to be ugly as fuck.
I don't want to equate somebody like Critical Drinker with a far right nationalist ideology, but fascism
Yeah, that's my job.
on an academic level is known to be just like they constantly appeal to the past as being better than whatever now is going on now, right? I'm not saying that's what he's doing. It's just interesting. But also, why is it so zoomed in on the left? I
Right.
can't help but think that maybe that's on purpose because they want people to see the hair on the one on the right and think, what people are obviously saying about this shit, what some scumbags on the internet are saying, that this is some kind of race thing, that this is a black guy predator or a black woman predator or something like that. And it's like, no, man, they're not even fucking humans. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just like the degree to which I know Drinker to be lazy and also dishonest. It's like it could be either thing in my mind. I don't know.
It's about practical effects versus awful CGI. Is that CGI on the right? I'm not sure that's CGI.
Pretty sure that's not CGI, man.
Yeah, it doesn't look CGI to me.
And I mean, what's awful about it? It literally looks like the same thing, except here, you know what the difference is? I mean, obviously they're different characters. And if you look at any of the Predator movies, the different ones look different. They're slightly different.
Yeah.
But also this one's supposed to be very like the youngest one we followed or seen. And so
really?
Much like with on humans, when they're older, they have more wrinkles, they have more spots, they look a little wetter.
Well, I just looked it up. It says Predator Badlands utilizes practical effects.
Yeah.
It's a shift from previous films that rely heavily on practical effects for the Predator's face. They said particularly on the Predator's face is practical effects. So it is.
Right. I mean, Tutorial Slave, I mean, you just came in and said something wrong. I would recommend I don't know, backing up what you understand before you say stuff.
The thing about it is there is probably some sort of visual after effect on some of these things, but that's a practical mask on that person's face. So
yeah.
I mean, to me, there's a desperation here because I would think normally they'd be a little bit hesitant to go after Predator after the results of Prey, and them
I don't think that's
shit on that one pretty much.
I think you're right, but also you're right, but also wrong because I mean I thought that at first, and then I'm like, no, it doesn't matter how that went for them because their audience doesn't have a memory. So
that is true.
They don't. Their audience doesn't remember that they took fucking huge L's left and right on that movie. They just remember, oh, that movie's woke and bad. So they know that they just like, oh, we're new Predator. We're gonna be able to grift on that, and so they're gonna grift on it, regardless.
It is from the director of Prey, so I mean,
yeah, and Prey was a great movie, probably the second best Predator movie in the entire franchise.
I would agree.
So,
I don't like CG face on a Predator either. I don't know which movies have done it, but
I think the Alien versus Predators used a lot of CG, but those were bad.
Yeah, the Aliens versus Predator movies are pretty bad.
Yeah, they're the bottom of the list.
Especially the second one.
Yeah, the second one is rough. It's like watching something with like sunglasses on indoors with the lights on.
With like mud smeared on the fucking lens or something.
So bad. Also, I think the other thing is that CG technology or CGI technology isn't like inherently bad. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
There's bad CG, there's good CG. It doesn't mean that the whole, like, these are the same people that argue AI is going to kill artists. Like, you're arguing that CGI is bad, but like AI is going to kill real artists. Like,
at least what this guy thinks the bad part is, the difference here. And it's like, oh, so just like design choices you don't like.
Right, you don't like the design. So that makes the movie bad.
Like exactly like the Predator that you've seen before. Okay, gotcha.
I mean, the Predator is supposed to be super ugly.
Not only that, but this isn't the whole premise of this movie is this is a young Predator that is not living up to their role because of whatever reason. They're basically discriminated against within their own community, and that's why they're in the situation they're in.
Yeah, that's why they're calling him woke too, by the way, because he's the runt of the litter. It's his last chance to prove himself or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and they tried to trash Prey before Prey came out too, and it ended up being a really fucking good movie. So I'm not gonna bother with their bullshit with this. You know what I mean?
I mean, you want them to put more autism stories into the Predator, or are you saying because they didn't have one in the last one? And I mean, honestly, of all the problems that the Predators or what the Predator had, the autism part was kind of neat. I wish it was done a little bit better.
I think the autism part was a cool idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't really.
I mean, look, I'm autistic. I
There
have
are
friends
cool
and people
ideas in the
that
Predator.
got
but
really. They don't like that. Concept
Which movie was that? Did they have that in?
The Shane Black directed one.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I couldn't remember which one that was.
That is for me my least favorite of the ones in the main Predator run.
I think the problem is that like media overcorrects sometimes. We've talked about this before. They go so far into like the overcorrection of what they see as discrimination that they sometimes do it wrong. And I think the portrayal of autistic people as being like these mutated savant like superhumans is a big problem. Right. You know,
it is, and it's like, and it's yeah. I mean, and something I had like a bias I had to look at because like there are things that I feel like because I'm on the spectrum, I'm actually pretty fucking happy that I'm able to do or see things a certain way. But like I understand that doesn't make me inherently better than anybody or whatever, and that it just. It's a weird thing to start placing people with neurodivergence on some kind of pedestal. I've been making the joke lately though, because of what RFK Jr. has been fucking saying.
He's awful. Like he should not be in his.
I've been bringing my neuro superior
Yeah.
out again. I don't like to bring it out, but because people like to cringe whenever I do it. But I'm like, no, man, I'm not neurodivergent. I'm neuro superior.
Yeah,
I'm like Magneto.
Well, I mean, the reality is he wants to create some mutant registry for people with autism. It's really fucking weird.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Like these are the same people that didn't want to be tracked during COVID. Like they didn't want COVID to be tracked, even though it's a spreadable condition that was killing people. That was a government overreach. But tracking people with autism that pose no danger to the public, that is totally okay with them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like,
no, I mean, I don't think who said that. I don't even know that was in the movie that it associated with a highly evolved killer. Did it?
I don't know. I vaguely remember that film. It wasn't one of my favorites.
as I recall, like there was a thing where like the kid was the Predator
what it
saw
was
the kid as the big warrior.
No, what it was that he's able to understand the language barrier and the essentially because that Predator had, and this is stupid. It's cool but stupid. That Predator had come to Earth to give us the secrets to like stop climate change, basically. Yes. And that this kid was the one that was able. He was going to be the.
Didn't they build like an anti-predator suit with his technology?
Yes, very end they did.
Yeah.
It's like holy shit! I thought the movie was over, and I'm like, what is this, dude? No.
Yeah, no continuation to that whatsoever. So
we need to. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll do a video where I like look at all of the. I'm sure somebody's done it, but like just all the examples of movies that ended thinking that we're setting up. We're going to do another one, and then like, no.
What's really sucks is I don't think Shane Black is a bad director. I think
I'm a fan of Shane Black. I am a defender of Iron Man 3. I think Iron Man 3 is totally solid.
I don't think Iron Man 3 needs to be defended. I think people with no taste don't like Iron Man
3. The only thing I can say is in hindsight, the knee-jerk reaction, I kind of got it. But then like looking at where we are now, it makes sense why the movie was like they had foresight making that movie that a lot of people didn't have. So yeah.
True.
The kid somehow translated the alien tech, and the Predators wanted to get him because his autism to evolve and get stronger. Okay, yeah, all right.
It's just another case of Hollywood trying to get ahead of the curve and not understanding the stuff that they're talking about. It's, I mean, it happened with gay shit too, so I'm not too surprised. So
now I kind of want to see a movie where like some aliens come to Earth to like we've come for your gays because they're going to be the warriors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're going to be like, we have to represent trans people, so everything is like trans people are the next evolution of humanity, and like they're using superpowers and fight. Look, it might be a cool ass movie. It could be. It'd be like gay people and trans people just turning on their mutant powers or whatever. But still, it would be an overcorrection of Hollywood.
Yeah,
I mean, so, it's so. Well, it's so ape shit. I'm kind of down for it.
The main thing that I wanted to talk about with the Predator Badlands thing, other than the trailer looks fucking great. I was like, not often I get that hyped for a movie anymore.
Yeah.
But like, other than that, there's the fact that they're, it doesn't matter. As a thumbnail on one of these channels that we're on says, it doesn't matter in the sense that there are American citizens being disappeared to El Salvador right now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then you got people that are like, Predator's woke. It's like,
I don't
dude,
think those channels got the memo, right? Like a lot of those guys, they were the stopgap between like fandom and politics, and they had a lot of them haven't evolved to politics. Like D-Day Cobra, Jeremy Geeks and Gamers, and Ryan Cannell totally jumped into the political circle once all of this stuff kind of happened. A lot of those other channels, the reason why they're struggling is they didn't evolve with the rhetoric. They're still talking about stuff people don't give a fuck about. You know what I mean? And it's just becoming more and more pathetic at this point.
yeah. I mean, you know, and then you start to see stuff that happen, like, but you know, following up on that video we watched at the beginning here. We talked about this on Friday, but I didn't really get too much into it. I definitely want to hear what you have to say about it, you two guys. Where I don't know.
Are we talking about Star Wars theory?
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I did like that video at the beginning because it like he brings up Biff Tannen from the '80s, and I thought that was a funny thing to bring up because you guys remember who that was modeled after? That was Donald Trump.
So this happened, I guess, on whatever Drinker's fucking stream or something after the whole essay.
The humiliation ritual.
Yeah, I don't think that if Vader saw some shit like that happening, I don't think he would leave it unchecked. I don't think he would walk by.
Like Vader's opinions on this wouldn't be relevant, right?
I 100% agree.
I do too. I was like, oh god, I agree with Mauler.
Child murderer Vader would be against SA.
But even so, Mauler's point here, and even Snarky J is kind of like going, is like, what does Vader have to do with this incident? Like nothing.
No,
absolutely nothing.
He's not there.
I made this just as a couple of quick ones that I grabbed. Like this took no time at all to find these examples. I mean, obviously and this one's convenient because it shows a flashback as he's doing it again to this woman. You know, it should flashback to that. Then there's this. You know, this woman actually, I've read this comic. She actually helps him out and does everything he asks pretty much. And but I think she maybe stole something or something like that. And he just fucking spaces her. You know, like man, he's definitely given a shit about women and in particular. You know
but I
mean?
also think that Star Wars theory,
children,
exactly, younglings. Star Wars theory has this romanticism that Anakin is still deep inside of Vader somewhere, but the narrative of the films and Star Wars in general is that he crossed that threshold and doesn't come back until the very end. Like when we see him and Luke have that final battle or whatever, that's when he like realizes what's going on, what's happened. He's been corrupted by the dark side. That's the point.
I mean, I know they hate the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. There's definitely issues with it. But part of the point of that series was that Anakin is fucking dead.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan needs to bury Anakin because that's Darth Vader now.
Even so, though, like saying that these guys would stop someone from doing SA but allow other people to commit genocide is the weirdest fucking stretch in logic.
These guys are okay with pressing a button and ending billions of lives in a second. But no, hey, well, don't let a woman get hurt, though. You know, there's no fucking logic there.
But let's go ahead and blow up Aldran. Oh fuck! Wait, there are women on there. Oh wait, we can't.
We can't do it.
Shit. Oh god.
Oh god. But there's people that do SA. Okay, hit the button. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean it's and it goes further than I think the Vader thing, the Anakin thing, though. I mean, you're right, but also he mentions Palpatine too.
Yeah,
I think he's just got like this weird fucking fucked up idea. Like look, the aesthetics of the dark side and the Empire, cool. Nobody fucking denies that. It's cool. But like you have to recognize the aesthetics is where it really ends when what you should identify with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think you figured that out.
Just because the aesthetics look cool, and I get it. Like I've played the Old Republic, the MMO, the Old Republic. I played that. I play Sith all the fucking time. I think it looks cool. But like, recognize it's still the fucking bad guys.
It shows a big disconnect, like from reality with this dude. Because I mean, I don't know if you guys are aware. He's the son of a rich guy. His dad is like a rich real estate guy. You can find or I have somewhere ads from Facebook and stuff where it's him and his dad standing in front of houses, selling houses and shit. Like that's what he was doing. That's what his life would be if he wasn't doing this. So I mean, he's probably just had nothing but all the luxury of just watching Star Wars and doing Star Wars shit and not actually engaging with the real world and people. And kind of starts to show. And then now most recently, the Star Wars guy, the guy with the largest Star Wars channel on YouTube, he's not reviewing a Star Wars show anymore.
Right. Yeah.
His fans said mean things or what?
Yeah. Basically, he did 2 videos. The first one, he was talking about like a watch party that wasn't related to Andor at all. Mm-hmm. And in that video, he said he wasn't going to be watching or talking about and reviewing Andor. So then all the people in the comments are like, what the fuck? You're a Star Wars content creator. Like, you'll watch Acolyte, you'll watch all these other shows that you hate, but Andor, one of probably the best made Star Wars shows in recent times, you're not going to watch that?
You're not going to watch it anymore? Because it has like screws and stuff in it.
He says, yeah. You know what I think it is? Just he's a meathead idiot, and it's a show for people that like want to, take some time and think about what's going on and the dynamics of the, the politics and the people. You know what I mean? Like that's what the show's about. And
I think that clip we watched embarrassed him so much that he just broke. I think that's what happened. Like everyone in his space, all of them have been roasting him for this. Absolutely roasting him. And he's just been sitting there and taking it. Yes, sir, may I have another? Can you roast me some more? That's essentially what's been happening.
I mean, it also strikes me that this isn't like a stance he firmly believed in. Like,
no, there was no pushback.
Like he was obviously just doing outrage for the sake of outrage.
That's what makes it so fucking cringe, Bob. Yeah. That's what makes it so cringe, is that he doesn't even believe in the stuff he's complaining about. At this point, it's cruise control outrage.
Yeah, if he believed in it, he would have counter arguments. There isn't a fucking counter argument.
I bet you anything, he was sitting online after that episode aired and was going through looking for what the only complaint that he could find about it. And he's like, oh, some people are mad that there was SA in this episode. So now I can go on my channel and platform that as the outrage. And we're all on the same page, right? Fandom Minutes will be on the same page. Nedrotic will be on the same page. Everybody will be, Critical Drinker will be on the same page. They all will. He had main character syndrome. He thought, I'm going to push through, and this is going to be the narrative. Then he gets on the stream with a bunch of these guys, and all of them are like, that's fucking stupid. And all of a sudden, he's faced with the reality that, oh shit, I'm not the main character. They are not going to go with my narrative. He wasn't in on the group text. He wasn't on Signal with them. Right? He wasn't having a conversation about what they were going to be mad about. And so when he said this, they're all like, do we back up this dumb fucking criticism as a community? Do we go to bat for him? Or do we let this outlier who kind of just got lumped in with us when we needed him, do we just roast him? And they went with roasting him.
I'm betting one part of this is that they've gotten what they feel is as much as they can get out of his audience.
Yeah.
That's definitely why they buddied up to him. Or they're just like, they didn't even get that much in the first place. And they're like, you know what?
I told you.
A lot of his audience is pissed at him.
Exactly. So, Bob, that's a good point. I don't normally talk about the back end stuff on the channel because I think a lot of it is just like not important. But it is kind of important. I mentioned it to Dane before we came on stream. But if I make a video criticizing like Nedrotic or Critical Drinker or pretty much anyone else, there's usually a lower ratio of likes because they don't like to be, people in their groups don't like for us to talk about them. So they come in and the only power they have is evil comments and downvotes, right?
Yeah, they exercise that, and I thank them for it.
But with Star Wars Theory, even after thousands and thousands and thousands of views, it's above 80% like ratio. So what that tells me as someone that has criticized him is his fans, at least a huge chunk of them, do not agree with what he's doing. And so that's probably being reflected with the Fandom Menace stuff because they're not seeing extra subscribers. They're not seeing extra engagement. They're not getting anything. There's no benefit for them having him on the show. And he's so much of a meathead that he's not even intellectual enough or pseudo-intellectual enough to contribute to their conversations.
I mean, yeah, he's not because he's just, these guys probably know Gary, probably Jeremy. These guys,
this part's crazy.
They don't.
How do you get cooked by Snarky J?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you get anything except her giving you her fucking flirty bartender, persona? Like,
I mean, and the clip that we have, she pulls the feminist card. Did you notice that?
Oh, let's check it out.
Check it out. She goes like, because I'm a woman. You'll see here in a second. Go for it.
Ooh, yeah.
And Anakin wouldn't stand for that shit.
No, but it's just not relevant. Like, why would Vader's opinion matter here?
I just don't think that that's something that the Empire would be cool with if they actually saw it. I don't think it.
I think the
Vader, like this thing is happening somewhere over here in the giant galaxy that the Empire is rolling over, right? And this one thing happens, and Vader's like, I sense an SA. You know?
I mean, the whole point is that the Empire is going to be hiring the people who are not only want to work for the Empire, but also the people who are, just abuse the power of the Empire. That's the whole fucking point.
Get ready for Snarky J. This is funny. So the one thing these guys always talk about is, like, you shouldn't be talking about women empowerment, and it comes off as girl boss, and it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man, blah, 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 whatever. The fact that Snarky J pulls the, well, actually, I'm a woman, and this is why card to Star Wars Theory's face, essentially. It does not get any pushback from anyone on this panel. No Chris Gore pushback, no nothing. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, it's almost like they don't actually really care about that kind of stuff as much because she's benefiting them. At
exactly. She's probably benefiting them more than Star Wars Theory is, to be quite honest.
Probably.
Empire wouldn't give a
Jesus. Her channel's
shit about the people that they're subjugating and murdering in mass levels and enslaving. I don't think they would.
Maybe the Empire as a whole, but I don't think Palpatine and Vader are
Palpatine and Vader are.
I want to see a fucking mini series where Palpatine and Vader are just like going around stopping sex crimes in the Empire. Man.
A PSA. Look, Vader says, you must consent. Like no touching without consent.
Listen, genocide's fine.
It's like the Captain America clip from Avengers where he pulls the chair up. Listen, we got to have a conversation here. It's like with Darth Vader about consent.
Like Palpatine,
the Emperor does one too.
They're both standing there like
to catch a predator with Darth Vader. Hi, can you have a seat? You know who I am, right? I'm Darth Vader. It's like, why were you texting with a 14-year-old youngling? Like, what's going on there? You know.
Oh my God.
She was okay. Her parents were out of town and stuff. Why'd you bring condoms?
And what is it? No, it's always condoms and fucking
pizza or McDonald's.
No. It's that lemonade alcohol. I can't remember what the name of it is.
I forget. It was not Mike's Hard Lemonade, right?
It is Mike's. It is. Yeah, Mike's Hard Lemonade. That's usually
Okay.
what it is. Yeah, I think so. Darth Vader's asking them why they brought that with them. What did you have? What were the intentions?
Rape or Imperial rape the woman.
In terms of like whatever.
And then, oh man, what is he doing? Did he just do an impression of Vader? Like, what is he doing? What are you doing, dude? God damn it.
Rules of engagement these Empire officials have, like, it would be against the rules, but then like that doesn't mean a whole lot when you're on some podunk farm planet at the end of nowhere.
You're gonna get
no
some
one really
piece of
watching
shit.
you. Like that's the point that they're making here.
Why is he making me agree with fucking Will Jordan?
I don't want to agree with him. Hold on, let me find. There's a clip. I'm gonna find the clip where she talks about it.
I mean, yes, there are rules to engagement, but guess what? It's also fucking war, and the rules are broken all the time in the war.
We should keep track of the chuds that have such bad takes or just like so shitty that we agree with other chuds because of them.
Yeah, we should do a whole stream on
Eric
that.
July. You know what I mean? And now Star Wars Theory.
Hold on, there's another clip. I thought that it was on this one, but it's on a different one. Oh,
yeah, and the first one is just, it goes without saying. That's why it doesn't even say it.
Hold on.
I mean, he lives it by regularly assaulting people.
Right.
Okay. when you've got no real oversight and you've
You know what I was pointing out in the Discord, although it's basically not only is he okay with assaulting women, including his own wife, he was kind of technically okay with doing abortion because
that's true.
Trying to kill his pregnant wife.
Yeah,
they're best friends, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he knows Georgia. I don't expect what is his video, the one that I was talking about the other day. He's like, I don't expect people to do the deep dives that I do and know all the things I know. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. This dick measuring contest bullshit.
I watched that video. He said something like, so and so that they said that there should be nothing that resembles our world or whatever. That's I was like, oh, so why is there a fucking droid in the first, I don't know, one of the first or maybe a couple of the first movies that has half of a 50s microphone for a mouth? I know there's other ones. I know there's other shit. There's
a lot of other shit. Actually, the funny thing is, an EFAP fan account on Twitter went through and listed like 30 examples of Vader and the Empire doing shit as awful as SA, and then went through and listed a bunch of things from film props that were obviously not made in space. So it's like it was like they went out of their way to roast him.
Can you believe that this fucking Star Wars, like it stars fucking humans to begin with,
and they
like,
speak English, and they look like human beings. Like
it's almost like it was filmed on Earth, and they're limited by what that's available to them. Jesus, I can't submerge myself in that universe.
Essentially got unlimited power over this little community or whatever. What are guys like that going to do? Are they going to take advantage of it for their own gratification? They probably are. Yeah,
guys do that every day.
He submits to the whole thing.
Rolling over so fast.
Yeah. Well, it's even worse. Check this out. This is the one I found. This is another clip here. We don't have to watch the whole thing, but check this out.
Is it a bit longer? It looks like it's longer.
It's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but I just wanted to talk. It's the Starkey J part. Check this out.
The Empire, though, and I'm going to give my 2 cents here, and then I'll shut up about this whole thing. But I think as an individual of a certain persuasion, that scene was very personally powerful to me and difficult to watch. But I will say
so there's a bit of representation mentioned there, and the anecdotal part about like being on the receiving end of SA, which I actually think is important. I don't disagree with what she's saying here, but the fact that she's saying it to these guys
is weird. It's bizarre to me.
Yeah, she's saying it to these guys, and none of them are correcting her. So let's see where this goes.
difficult to watch.
Sure probably rolling his
But
eyes,
I will say the following. I think it reflects really well in painting a picture of the true horrors of the Empire, because if we're going to sit here and paint pictures of the bureaucracy of essentially space, fascism, right? And we're going to go through all these people and their terrible.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Like she calls it fascism here, and there's no correction from the panel. They're letting her say this whole thing.
Maybe I'm just saying this because, the cleavage, but you should not be on the show. You could be on ours.
Terrible mission and all that stuff. It makes perfect sense to me that you would have Imperials that are essentially working almost unchecked, because somebody like Palpatine and Vader is not directly overseeing what Joe Schmo is doing.
This is like a humiliation ritual for Star Wars theory. He's just sitting there and like
this
on
is
this
the
planet
exact kind of shit that they fucking constantly rail against.
Yeah.
This is exactly the kind of shit that, like in the She-Hulk stuff, She-Hulk discourse, that they were so fucking upset by. It's the same kind of vibe, and that's very valid stuff. That's like what we argued with people before about this. That it's just a common woman's experience to deal with certain things, and to act like you can't ever put that in a show. You know what I mean?
Is Starkey J a psyop? Is that what's happening here?
I don't know. I just don't know.
These people, right? So it makes sense to me that it happens. Now, the fact that it is strange to see it in Star Wars, I can agree with that. And I think that a show like this, to be completely honest, needs a higher maturity rating, because I don't think that a 14-year-old, for instance,
and see, that's not necessarily an unfair. I don't think that's an unfair criticism, to be honest.
What's she saying? So I honestly haven't seen the moment that happened, so I don't know.
It's a pretty. I mean, it doesn't go full. It doesn't go full on like nudity type stuff, but it is very graphic.
Okay.
Yeah, it's essentially one of the Imperial officers asked Bix out, and she's like, "No, actually, my boyfriend's in town. He'll be back in a couple days." She's lying to him because he's a creep. And then a couple episodes later, he decides, you know what, fuck it.
Yeah, and it's pretty graphic. I'm not saying that they have to do that, but I don't think that's an unfair criticism.
No, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. I mean, a warning would be good, like a proper warning for it. But I mean, at the same time, she just said, she doesn't think a 14-year-old. I think that totally depends on the 14-year-old.
Yeah, there are probably 14-year-olds that may have to deal with that.
Sure. I literally have a 16-year-old and 14-year-old, and we've dealt with some stuff. You know what I mean? Like this is that kind of thing. That
I know. I have to.
Yeah. So let's see where she goes with this.
Sure, that's the rating of Andor right now is 14 and up, should be exposed to that sort of content. I think it's intense in that regard. But if we're talking about making an adult show that is for adults about Star Wars. It has a Star Wars label on it, but it's meant for an adult audience. That is something that happens. People that are power hungry and cruel commit acts like murdering children, like blowing up planets, and therefore forcing themselves on women that they see as basically inhuman is not out of the question. The fact that it is difficult to watch, is offensive, is bothersome. Personally, I felt like, Jesus Christ, that's terrible, is a different story. But it happens. And I think the fact that they showed it and used the word, there is no minimizing rape. There's no, let's come up with a space word for it. Because if you're somebody that has any experience with it in real life, you want to call it anything else, bullshit. Call it what it is. If you call it a space word, honestly, 100% you're going to piss more people off than if you just use the word. Now,
She's
would it
on
have
fire
been a little
right
more
now.
gentle to say attacked? Sure. But the fact of the matter is what happened. And, you know, at least it didn't happen. She was able to defend herself. And now this is another mark on this character for her strength and her experience with the Empire. But it's, to me, it's not beyond the Empire's doing. So I didn't have the same reaction to it. But
Now keep in mind, if they did an episode of Andor that was pretty much just about what she talked about, just did it in like a narrative way, they would scream woke for like hours on end. Yeah.
To this point, I don't know that she's changing her opinions. I think that what I'm starting to, I think I remember thinking this whenever we covered her very briefly months ago, a year ago or whatever, is that I think that she's disconnected from what what these guys mean by when they say certain things about the media, and when they say it's woke or something like that. I think she doesn't think about things the same way they do. She's, you know, and that's kind of the problem with that word, right? That kind of approach is like,
but that's how you get kicked off the show, though. Like, they might not ever ask her to come back again if they.
I'd be curious to know. Yeah, let's keep an eye out. If anybody ever sees her on again, let us know.
Because the reality is, I don't necessarily agree with everything she said in that statement, except for the social stuff. Like, yes, they could slap a warning on the episode. I'm good with that.
Of course, they threw a fit over the warning on Obi-Wan Kenobi when it was like, violent. You know, this episode features violence against children, and they threw a fit. And it's like, I don't care. Like, if you like, I'm not picky. If you want to do a warning, do a warning. No.
So, you know, at least based on a little bit of content that we saw about her, it seems like she kind of does 1 foot in sometimes of the anti-woke thing, but like with much softer language about it. She just kind of appeals to the same general sensibilities that these guys do. You know, like, oh, this, you know, it's blah, blah. Like, I don't know. It seems like she was grifting, honestly, or that she just, I don't know.
I'm going to go in like this week and watch a few of her recent videos just to see. But the point is, I found a lot of her takes really stupid. And then I saw these clips and I'm like, wait a minute, she's roasting the living fuck out of Star Wars theory and saying feminist shit in this group of men that always talk shit about feminists. So,
and none of them are doing anything about it.
Right. They're all sitting there, which is very telling.
Like sending a message in their little group chat saying this bitch should come back on show. You know,
yeah, get on Signal. No more Snarky J. You know what I mean? I mean, that's essentially okay. So do you remember the whole comic book girl Danica situation where she went on their show and talk shit about the chat and stuff like that? Do you remember that happening?
I remember it happening. I don't remember.
I did a video on it, but I remember she was on Friday Night Tights as their special guest. This was like a year ago. And she was calling the chat out on saying things about strong women and stuff like that.
I have that clip.
Oh, yeah. So she was doing that, and magically, she's never been invited back on any of their streams after that.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I was shocked she was there to begin with.
Me too.
She's actually.
I was kind of bummed out because I liked her X-Men videos back in the day. She used to do great like X-Men videos.
They take like calculated risks like that now and then. They know that that's not somebody that is really probably going to job. But I mean, if she's willing to agree to be on, then maybe they can, you know, get a foot in. That's how they got theory. You know what I mean? That's how they got Star Wars theory to be. And it worked out for them to some degree. And now I guess it's not.
Well, I feel like, you know what, Dane, and I know this is probably what you've talked about this before. Maybe I wasn't on the stream about it, but the idea that bringing in these wild cards to sort of try and suck some of that audience in. I mean, I feel like that's what they're doing, is they're hoping that some of that audience will come over and help continue the grift for them. Because we're looking at the numbers. Again, I've been doing a lot of mathing recently, and most of these channels, not all of them, but most of them are not doing well right now. Yeah. So,
I mean, yeah, do we want to switch over to looking at something like that?
Yeah, we can do that. Sure.
On Nedrotic, actually, because he is definitely experiencing the So looking at some of his recent content, there's a bit of a connective thread, or at least in the kind of vibe of his content. There's the normal content that he does, which is like basically the maintenance of whatever's out this week. He's going to be making videos, doing his narrative about that thing. And every once in a while, he'll put out some, more of like a broader essay video type thing, where it's like he's essentially setting the narrative, for anybody that's maybe new or anybody just kind of reprogramming the people that are forgetting what the whole thing's about. But these types of videos he's been doing are, specifically to me, they just come off like, I'll pull him up in a second. I get his channel up here, but like he's trying to fucking, I don't know, pull in new audience, and he's desperate to, because I understand putting out one of these videos now and then. I haven't done it in a long time. I probably should, but just every once in a while, you want to kind of reestablish yourself to the audience, your audience, and then hopefully gain new audience, right?
Yeah.
So put out video that's kind of just the general, here's what I do, here's what I'm all about, kind of thing, and I hope that picks up some people and reinvigorates anybody that's already watching and stuff like that. And he's put out several of those in a short amount of time. Like, what the fuck has happened to Star Wars? And then, like you said, he did MCU marathon the other day?
Yeah, so the other day I was I was scrolling through and I'd seen something I've never seen on his channel before. It was a long ass 12-hour stream of just his greatest MCU hit videos or something. And I'm like, why are you live streaming? It was a playlist, essentially. He had a playlist like on autoplay of all of his MCU videos just playing back to back to back to back to back. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, why are you doing this?
And then another thing is you'll notice certain completely unrelated, like here, you got the, there it is, 3-hour Marvel's Rise and Fall of the MCU.
Yeah.
The Disney Plus disasters, right? How Hollywood destroyed fandom. And it's like, showing all of the women that everybody hates that watches this content.
But he doesn't hate women, though. Remember? They don't hate women.
True.
There's also a guy there too, so know.
Well, women and feminists,
right?
So,
what the fuck is Star Wars now? And these are definitely just
they're generic videos. They're very common talking points. There's no
propaganda. They're not.
Where's all the targeted upcoming things? Where is that at?
Where's a video on Sinners?
Right.
Why couldn't you put something more recent than She-Hulk in the thumbnail here? Why was he covering? Yeah, exactly. Where's the fucking Sinner? He's covering this shit, as Birdman so eloquently pointed out. He's covering G20 that nobody. Literally nobody, like, I only heard of it because they covered it,
and it wasn't good. I watched it; it wasn't a good movie. But the thing was, I don't think it was ever.
It didn't look good.
well, it was written by the people that write Supergirl, and that wasn't a great show either. So I mean, it really was just kind of destined for failure. But the point is that they weren't hating it because it was bad after they watched it. They were hating it because it was a black woman as a lead character in a movie before it ever even came out. That was their point.
So the Sinners thing is that's such a huge fuck. We were talking about it before the stream. It's an enormous, like, glaring red flag for these guys that they can't cover it, because if they were to cover it, they would have to just do what they normally do when something actually is good, but they'll say it's bad or whatever. They'll find reasons to nitpick it. But this movie seems to be so popular that if you saw the movie, you'd think it's fucking great.
Where's all the negative Thunderbolt videos? That comes out this week.
That's true. Where's it at?
Well, it got 89. It's like 89 or 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's getting positive reactions from people. So
I can tell you guys what I think their narrative is going to be about it, because I saw who was it? First I saw Disparu saying that it was a movie that's, if you like movies that are all about trauma and suffering and stuff, that's because everybody's all sad and has trauma and depression. It's like, oh yeah, because no good movie has ever been about people's suffering and trauma, right?
Right.
And also, from what I understand, it's a much more serious movie than they've been promoting it. Like, it's not the comedy kind of thing, the vibe that they give in the trailer. And generally, it's getting, like you said, good reviews. But yeah, I think Nedrotic's going to try to go with that as well.
I'm surprised they haven't called it a bait and switch, because apparently even though Bucky is one of the main characters advertised because he's an OG, like a holdover from the older films, Yelena is kind of the lead character, which I felt like she was going to be anyway because of what I'd seen.
Yeah.
So, but they're giving Florence Pugh positive praise on that. So,
oh no, that's sorry. There's this one. That was another thing. This is holy shit. This one. We talked about it last week. We talked about it on the Fapcast. This fucking claim, man.
Oh God.
I mean, even if it's just kind of a joke title, the fact that they put it in there is
it's pathetic. That's my word for the year. Pathetic and desperate. Like that's what we're seeing. They're not astroturfing anything at the moment other than like 1 or 2 Fantastic Four videos.
Here's what they said about Thunderbolts today, just a couple hours ago. Thunderbolts affected my mental health. Okay. So that's might be the direction they're going. I mean, it's not a very good one, man. It's not a good hook, Gary.
Well, it's going to be tough because I think the movie's probably going to have a good opening weekend. I think that the reviews are going to be good. So they're going to have a tough time with this one. They're going to have to wait and see. This is one of those things like with Daredevil where they don't know which way the wind is going to blow. So they're going to wait and see what the reaction is going to be from everybody.
Well, I think even with Daredevil, I think what Nedrotic learned is that, you gotta get the clicks, and you get more clicks with the negative. So I think they're going to be tempted to lean negative as much as possible, or otherwise
it's going to be tough if the movie performs well though, and it gets good reviews. They're going to have a tough time doing that.
You might just ignore it.
Think about the fact that here he is titling his Friday Night Tights shows, Daredevil Bore Again Sucks, and then Daredevil Afterbirth. When we know that from the video that we watched that he at least said that he was kind of into it at first, and it was really just they didn't stick the landing, right?
Yeah.
And that just goes, lines up perfectly with like when he talked with Mahler about Deadpool and Wolverine, where it's like whatever he needs to say at any given moment. If he needs to say that like this popular thing that everybody seems to like, that he's like, yeah, it was all right, but they, and then the next minute just say it's Daredevil Bore Again or whatever the fuck, he's gonna say it. He's just such a blatant grifter.
Wait, are you saying Gary's a disingenuous asshole?
It's honest, man. I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
A rough start. The fucking opening scene of Andor season 2 is phenomenal. I'm sorry. I just love the whole thing. The him getting talking to the chick at the
yeah, that was excellent. Man.
And then stealing the fucking the ship and stuff. That was all
I just think it's really weird to me that there was one of my videos. That's funny. The golden shower patriot, Yellow Flash. It's weird to me that they're not. I mean, maybe I'm seeing something happening here. I have to double check, but like they're usually about a year out with astroturfing, and I'm not seeing that from them from a lot of these movies. Like we have a lot of movies coming out this year that they could go after, and they're not going after them. And I'm wondering if there's a reason why.
Or feeling like they won to a degree, but also that has to be confusing for them now that they're seeing their stuff kind of dwindling, right?
Yeah.
So like they both have won in a real sense, they did, but at the same time, somebody just show up.
I don't know.
Okay, cool.
Oh, hey. Chariot's here. Cool.
Oh, hello.
Hello. All right, I gotta go. No, just kidding. Every time everybody shows up, I have to leave. But no, I don't have to actually leave. Just kidding.
Oh, yay! I like.
So did you mention something that you were like, I got to get on and embody these people?
Wait, is that? Hang on, sorry. I hate to cut you off, Dane. DJ, that hat, is that channel merch?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, nice. That rocks.
It's on my little shop here online. So thank you. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Random things.
This is an interesting one, and I'm glad you just showed up, Jerry, because it's great.
Oh.
Something that these chuds have been doing because they did a re-release of Revenge of the Sith. So now you've got content like this. Revenge of the Sith humiliates Disney Star Wars.
Oh, God.
I think you said it was your favorite movie, isn't it, Jerry?
Oh, yeah. Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars film for sure. The prequels are actually my favorite George Lucas films, at least of the Star Wars films. I shouldn't say favorite George Lucas films, but Star Wars, yeah.
I was going to say, have you seen Red Tails?
I mean, I disagree, but okay.
I realize it's a minority take for sure.
I definitely agree that the Revenge of the Sith is I would say it's the best of the prequels for sure.
Oh, easily, yeah.
My favorite is The Phantom Menace. That's my favorite movie.
Really?
That's
I'm just kidding.
One of my favorites as well. Really? No.
No, not my favorite. Like, it's not my favorite one. I like it, but it's not my favorite one. My actual favorite is going to be
you burned it with me on it.
No. It's mine's the most boring answer ever. I like Empire Strikes Back. That's my favorite.
Yeah, Empire's my favorite.
I mean,
it's
very
Empire, A
defensible.
New Hope, and then Last Jedi. Last Jedi is where I get a lot of people pissed.
Last Jedi is the best of the 3 sequel films, I think.
Well, my favorite
absolutely,
Star Wars movie of all time is Rogue One. So
Okay, all right, I see it.
Last Jedi, man, I will defend that to my. I think the Last Jedi.
my guilty pleasure is the Solo movie. That's my guilty pleasure.
It's I went back and I rewatched it. It's not the worst. I think
I would never say it's the worst. I found Solo just kind of not particularly noteworthy.
Kind of tedious in my opinion, because just little things like, oh, we got to explain why he's named Solo, and then also, oh, I'm going to call you Chewie. It's like, come on, can we find something more interesting to do with these characters than just I don't know, the most asinine thing.
Albedo.
What group are you with?
Chariot can't claim to love Revenge of the Sith if she hasn't read the novelization. You mean the Matthew Stover novelization, also author of one of my favorite Star Wars Expanded Universe novels, Shatterpoint, which he references in the Mace Windu section of the Revenge of the Sith novelization. The dark is patient and it is kind, for it protects us from those things we dare not know. I quote that book a lot in my videos, actually. In the Force Unleashed video, I'm gonna kind of reference that a bit. So
damn, Stravian's fucking deep cut for the joke. Not everybody's gonna get that one, but
Battle for Endor. Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about the super shit and space monkeys or whatever. We're gonna get there.
Dane's running on borrowed time. He's got like a half an hour left. He's got to go.
So yeah, I don't know. There's not a whole lot to say except that of course they're just always gonna appeal to the thing from back in the day, especially if it was pre-Disney, because everything's got to be anti-Disney for them. So
yeah, all new Disney is bad is the memo. That's the memo from them. So
I mean, it's kind of obvious when it all started with the fucking Ron DeSantis shit like forever ago. Now they're just on the fucking money train.
Although I would argue, along with Andor, I think Skeleton Crew was a very good series. So
oh yeah, that was underappreciated too. But yeah, that was a solid show. Like if you're looking for something like a Star Wars show to introduce kids to, fucking Skeleton Crew is fun.
Yeah, that's the opposite of what Andor's offering, which is a more adult type experience, and Skeleton Crew is a family experience.
And one thing I really appreciate about Skeleton Crew. So I thought for sure they're like when they're setting up Jude Law for some sort of redemption arc.
Yeah.
And no, he's just a fucking villain.
He's just
an
asshole.
That.
Yeah. So I think you have a couple super chats for your channel.
Yeah, Bob, you do.
Yeah, I liked what I liked about Skeleton Crew is it kind of reminded me of the first time that I saw the Goonies.
Oh yeah,
it was kind of the
vibe.
For sure.
Let's go over these. What do you think will happen if YouTube grows a spine and have these grifter channels shaken down? What do you imagine happening to these people? Well, I'll be 100% honest. I don't see YouTube taking them down as long as they make YouTube money.
Once they get small enough for YouTube to not care about it, then they might do something.
Then they can take a moral stance. And let's see the other one down here. I'd love to see a Star Wars show where the alien is the main character. Just yeah, I'm 100% down for that as well. Have we not done that?
I mean, the closest thing would be like Mandalorian, because Grogu's kind of a main character, but that's.
I guess so. Yeah,
I think that's it.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised we haven't done an alien character yet.
George Lucas always said that like the original Star Wars, like A New Hope, was kind of told through the eyes of the droids. They're not aliens.
Oh, Ahsoka.
Oh yeah, Ahsoka was. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, there we go. We figured it out. Problem solved. Where has Turf been? Did you not see the video, Spooky Kitty?
Oh, I haven't watched that.
I've not seen his live stream yet. I've been meaning to check it out.
Yeah, he talked.
I know he's been busy. And
I mean, do you want me to just summarize kind of what he said? I mean, go watch his video if you want to know for sure. But essentially, he just was burned out on YouTube. He would like to come back at some point to do more, but he's been busy with life, and YouTube is not something that he feels happy spending time doing, even though he appreciates everybody's support. and it's a very good video. It's like a 30-minute video. Like, if you want to know the full thing, you go watch that. But essentially, he says he does intend to come back at some point, but he just doesn't know when that's going to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he had said something even on the on work or something like that, like giving that more attention right now.
Yeah.
I can't remember what he said it was, but it was something like that.
It's a nice video. He talks more in that video than I think I've ever heard him talk the times that I've talked with him. But it's I mean, it's his video, so it's 30 minutes of him just chatting. No, it's a very good video. It does kind of break down everything in detail, but essentially he's just like, life happens and this wasn't a priority, and that's pretty much it. So
yeah, for sure.
Dane, you're muted. I don't know if you know that or not.
So he's a Chad. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah.
He's
Dane
touching
step
grass.
Did Dane step away? He didn't say anything in the private
I
chat. So
don't. Maybe he did, and unexpectedly.
Oh, okay. Well, I would like to talk about briefly while we wait for Dane to come back. Is anybody seeing Thunderbolts this weekend? Because
I will be seeing it Sunday night.
I'm going on Friday morning, and I'm doing a live stream on Sunday to talk about it. So we'll see what happens. But I have high hopes for it because it feels like a different type of Marvel movie. So the reviews are kind of conflicting. Some people say it feels fresh and new, and then other people like it feels like a throwback. So I don't. I'm not sure what to expect from it.
Review, but it's all positive. So it's like, well, let's see.
I saw one negative review from one random person on social media, which we all know how that goes. But they were saying that they didn't like it because they didn't like the way they handled depression in the movie, which is a fair criticism. I mean, you don't have to like the way they handle it, but that pretty much influenced their feeling about the entire film. So I'm assuming it's kind of an important point. And I mean, with Sentry being a character, I guess depression will probably be an important part of the movie. So go there with that.
Yeah, hey, I'm just kind of excited to see a crew like the Thunderbolts actually go against Sentry, which is just insane power dynamic issue. I'm always down for that. If they think of a creative way for that to work.
I might check that film out. I'm not as big of an MCU person, but I might check that out when it's on streaming, because it actually did. You are right. It did look a bit different.
I don't have it in front of me here, but I made a video about it on my channel just earlier today. But how do we feel about the entire thing surrounding this Harry Potter TV show on HBO? Because
this works out extremely well, because that's the article I have pulled up here.
Do you? Okay. Well,
what was the question? Sorry.
No. We were talking about the Harry Potter thing, just the whole J.K. Rowling donating money to this is a good one to talk about too. So just for reference, I want you guys to understand, J.K. Rowling donated almost $93,000 to the organization, the Gender Critical, aka the transphobic organization, that took that case to the high courts, the Supreme Court in the UK. So she actually spent money to possibly have rights taken away from people.
Yeah,
I just need people to understand that.
I mean,
that's more than a celebrity endorsing something or shit posting. She actually put money into that organization. So
I mean, that's part of the reason why I try to boycott everything of hers I can now. That's it's a personal choice. If you love Harry Potter and you can't let go, that's fine. But I try to avoid all that stuff anymore, because J.K. Rowling has pretty much not only said incredibly transphobic stuff and continues to say transphobic stuff like nonstop on Twitter, but she is dedicated to putting money into things that would take trans rights away. And I just, at this point, I just think she's a disgusting human being. And this article in particular was one I kind of wanted to go over, because not only did John Lithgow come off as a little bit disconnected airhead, but I don't know. He is an old man, so maybe he's just not as online. I don't want to be too rough on him.
I don't think he's terminally online. I think that's the problem. He's just not totally aware of everything.
Comparing an old dead anti-Semitic to a living transphobe who has a massive platform.
Well, I mean, if you think about like he talks about playing Roald Dahl. And he's like, well, I didn't receive the same backlash, and I'm working for J.K. Rowling. It's like, okay, there's a difference. Like, you're not playing J.K. Rowling. You're like, this would be the equivalent of doing a project that would make Roald Dahl money
Yes,
to promote his
essentially,
anti-Semitism.
yeah. Yes.
That's the equivalent. He didn't do that before, and he's doing that now with J.K. Rowling.
Well, the thing is, he pretended like he didn't know what was going on, and that's in the interview that is in this article. But he has friends and family members that actually tried to talk him out of the role.
Yeah, so he says he was like a friend sent him an open letter essentially saying, please step down from this. And then, he essentially, an open
the mother
letter
of a trans
to John
child.
Lithgow, please walk away from this. Yes. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, that was a canary in the coal mine for me. And I was like, oh, wow, is he actually going to step away? And then
he thought, why is this a factor at all?
Yeah. But essentially he says, no, I'm definitely not walking away. Now, the other thing I want to talk over was not only John Lithgow just being disconnected, but Jack Dunn here. The way he frames this article and the way John Lithgow kind of frames it as well is essentially J.K. Rowling is gets shit for transphobic stuff she tweeted in 2020. They are constantly framing it as if she did a couple tweets in 2020 that were transphobic, and people are still making a big deal out of it. What's up with that? No, people are making a big deal because you can go to her Twitter right now and find transphobic stuff almost instantly.
Yeah, I mean, the very first tweet she has right now is about anti-trans feminist rhetoric.
She's constantly going after trans stuff on Twitter. Also, she just did that over that court ruling, like you guys brought up earlier.
Yeah,
she just did that smoking a pack meme tweet where she's got the cigarello on like what looks to be like a yacht or a boat.
Yeah,
it's the worst the worst taste image I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's the tweet that Pedro Pascal was based as fucking called out, said, fucking heinous. I don't remember exactly. I know he called it heinous. I don't think he called her a heinous bitch. I might have called her a heinous bitch, but this whole article is framing it like she did a couple of past comments and now people aren't letting it go. It's like, no, this is something she's actively doing right now. This isn't something she did in the past and she did, and people just can't let go of it. She just is constantly doing this shit. She's frankly a disgusting human being, in my opinion, at this point. But yeah, I think this frame's utterly bizarre.
Well, I think it minimizes what J.K. Rowling has been doing, for sure. Secondly, it shows ignorance. Like, he took a role on a show with a person who is highly politicized and didn't know anything about that. You know what I mean? Like, that's very ignorant. It's ignorant for him, and it's obviously ignorant for his public relations person, his agent, all of that, to not know that. Secondly, he was told... ad block up. He was told that by that letter that this is how trans people feel about this.
Yeah.
As a general statement. Of course, there's always some people out there who are contrarians and, leopard face type shit. But the majority of the community don't respect what she's done. She's attacked fans of the series, of the books and the movies who have spoken out against this actively online, gone after them, retweeted them, harassed them online. She's done all of these
influences legislation.
And she spent money.
A massive celebrity over there. Like, she fucking has real fucking weight behind what she says.
She spent almost $100,000 to get this court case, to win this court case.
Yeah, so real quick, I found the line that this article says that really kind of pissed me off. Back in 2020, Rowling posted a series of social media posts claiming that the existence of transgender people erased the lived reality of women. Back in 2020. No, she does that almost every fucking day. She probably does it every fucking day. This isn't like some past stuff where she went, oh, I said some bad stuff and I apologize. No, this is an ongoing issue. And framing it this way is just so fucking dishonest.
Which is how, I mean, how you can essentially be factual and then still also kind of be lying by omission.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's
to kind of put this in perspective, I guess, like, if you are transgender, you're and you're online, obviously, if you're in these kind of online discourses, you're going to know a lot of other transgender people who are online, probably. You're going to network with a lot of those people. And as a byproduct, you will personally have spoken with people who Rowling has tweeted about and insinuated that they're like a threat to women and shit like that. Jesus. I have not like known like personally super well, but interacted with people several times over who that's their experience. I had when I did like a lot more streaming stuff, occasionally I'd have people in my chat or in my community, or I'd interact with people in like that section of politics Twitter, and while she was like tweeting about them, you know, I think it was a mutual of mine who, and I'm not saying this was okay, but you guys may remember the tweet of somebody like we're rolling a screenshot of it. It was out of context. Not that that made it okay.
Back in the kitchen or whatever.
This was a while ago, but it was the one where somebody was like, it was some tweet about like beating her up or shooting her or something. I'm not condoning doing that, but she got a lot of attention off of screenshotting that from an account that had like 14 followers, and I knew like 7 of them. Just like some young trans person who was like really upset about, you know, like the real discrimination she's furthering. And her response was to kind of mob followers after that person. And I just like, that was crazy. I can't remember what the tweet said. It was actually kind of, it was objectionable. I don't
So
blame
there's
people
more
for
to it
going
than
after
just being a male pin name. Everybody know what that's remember what that name is and who that guy
Robert
is?
Galbraith. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the J.K. Rowling's kind of a pen name as well, but yeah, Robert
I remember
Galbraith
I remember like in 2020 when it was like, man, I don't know, maybe she's transphobic, because she hadn't said a whole lot yet at that point about it. She'd said a couple of things, but then there was this pin name, and it's like, well, that's the pin name as like you know, whatever. And then some of the characters and blah, you know, just like little things. It was like you could kind of draw lines to her maybe being transphobic, and then something happened, and it was like once basically somebody called her out, she's like, oh, okay, now I can just let it all out.
Yeah, the pen name by itself was sus as fuck, but it was just like, maybe she doesn't know any better. Maybe she doesn't know. Maybe it just a name she heard in passing was like, that's a cool pen name.
Like a very specific and unfortunate coincidence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
There's there's a couple of good videos from a YouTuber called Sean on like different prominent like anti-trans figures like Magdalene Burns and Kelly J. Keane and people like that, and some of their either like direct or tangential associations with rolling or people rolling nose. At this point, you know, when I first found out about the Robert Galbraith thing, I was agnostic about it. At this point, there's no shot that she doesn't know. There's no shot that wasn't intentional. It's kind of like you know,
maybe it was an accident. Now it's like, no, she did it on purpose.
Yeah, you know, it's like if somebody has you know, if like a Twitter account, right, and they've got like their display name is like 2 lightning bolts, you know, you look at that and you think maybe they just like the lightning bolt emoji. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, but then their handle is like N-word Slayer 1488, and it's like, okay, so I think,
or for example, like Elon Musk has like some kind of vodka or whatever that he designed the brand for, and it's literally just a couple of, you know, lightning bolts, and it's Elon Musk.
Yeah,
So,
you know,
like,
his heart goes out to us, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, honestly, I'd say that, you know, this is obviously subjective anyway, but like the Harry Potter franchise, this series is fucking pretty goddamn unnecessary. The sequel trilogy, I mean, there's still only 2 of those movies. They haven't come out with the 3rd one yet, so but I like those first 2 pretty well.
Well, I mean, the thing about the like, fucking let's be honest, all this stuff can be called unnecessary if you want to, but like if we didn't have this transphobic stuff and J.K. Rowling just said, hey, I'm gonna do a Harry Potter series, but I just want it to be accurate, and we didn't have this whole transphobia stuff we knew about, be like, okay, fine, you know, you do you know, whatever. But the fact is, she has her transphobia, and she infuses it in like everything, didn't she? Like, I think she even did like a crime novel where like the killer was like a fucking trans person or something like that, and they were a killer because they were. It was some fucked up shit. I remember reading. It was just like, oh my god, it infuses everything she does anymore. It's like her identity.
I mean, it literally, that's the thing. That's what happens with these people. If you can look at what's Graham Linehan or whatever his name is,
Linehan, yeah.
Like they just become this. They become that's who they are after a while. They aren't anything else. It seems like, other than just this fucking trans people are you know, and they can't fucking, I don't know. It rots their brain. It really does.
I mean, I can pretty much guarantee you, J.K. Rowling thinks about trans people more than trans people think about trans people.
Probably so, yeah.
Yeah, she's trying. Also, great point from Just Yes in the chat. She called Lolita a tragic love story. That was incredibly sus. Another comment, which if you saw it from a random person, you'd be like, I'm sure they just phrased that comment very poorly. But like, how am I supposed to take all of this?
I've seen people coming and shitting on the Harry Potter franchise in the chat, and like, I'm with you. I read the first 2 books and pretty quickly was like, this is the most bland derivative shit. There's
it doesn't get good until book 3. Doesn't get
so much other stuff that you can fucking get way better of the same, but more and better and more. You know what I mean? It just fuck Harry Potter, seriously. And I thought that before I knew anything about who she was. Anyway,
you see, I read the books. I thought the second one was the weakest one. I didn't get really good until the third one, but I'm definitely not revisiting them after all this shit. I'm done with that franchise.
Yeah, the Nabokov novel. Yeah, that Lolita. Yeah.
Not the other, not the children's cartoon. Lolita.
We have some comments highlighted over here. Do we want to talk about those briefly before we move on? Or
the highlighted ones?
Yeah, some that are not super chats. I see there's a couple that are highlighted here.
Oh yeah, I was gonna this
Like
is
Mark-
actually
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, my bad. We'll go ahead and answer that one first. Yeah. Yes. I would recommend that.
There's 2 of them though, right? Isn't there the one with Jay Lee and then there's another one, right?
So actually the first one is the Jay Lee one, I think, right? The very first century, where it breaks down the whole, the fact that it's fucking great. It's a whole meta, but folded into the actual narrative thing.
Did Brian Michael Bendis have a run of Century?
With
the Avengers. With the Avengers.
New Avengers. Yes.
Yeah.
New.
And that's when this opens up. The issue opens with them. It's like Captain America and Iron Man. They go and they find Bob Reynolds. He's like hiding somewhere in a cave somewhere, and they're like, "So you say that you're actually a guy who was created by a comic book writer named Paul Jenkins?" He's like, "Yeah, that's right." And he's like, "But we've got Paul Jenkins right here." That's how it starts.
But the original one is Paul Jenkins, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dane, but it's the Jay Lee and Paul Jenkins one, right? That's the first one. Okay.
Would recommend it. Very good. It's a unique read. It's basically like Superman if he was very, very unstable and there was like a big negative consequence to his powers. But also it's there's cool stuff that stands out to my memory of like the fact that him and Hulk were always good buddies. Like he could always calm the Hulk down, kind of thing. That's like lore written backward into the story that I think is pretty neat. Anyway, this is very good observation. I think it's hard to take that seriously because I've seen you see people say shit like that, but for a long time I just assumed it was disingenuous, and I don't think it always is now. There are some people that just think that.
Yeah, there's some people who I feel genuinely drank the Kool-Aid without realizing it, and
it's like it's the kind of people that think that being colorblind is a legit thing or whatever.
Yeah,
like, oh, I don't see color. Like, yes, you do. You fucking lying to yourself. And in fact, it actually is harmful to not recognize the differences between people. But
and that also ties a lot of this back to the CRT panic about like the changes in the American education system, because that was a huge pain point for people who wanted to kind of like prevent the education that would kind of undermine this idea that we live in a not even post-racial. That logic has kind of been extended to everything, even where it clearly like doesn't make any sense. I had somebody come on to one of my videos where I was like showing a bunch of like anti-trans sentiment, and there's clips in the there's evidence in the video. There's like, it's not just anti-trans people. Melanie Mack is in there. She's anti-gay. There's examples in the video, and I had people in my comment section who were like, "Oh, you're imagining that all these people hate you. There is no bigotry anymore." And it's like, I don't.
Oh God,
are you real? Like that. I get that the point of saying that is more so to soothe themselves and not to argue, to convince me. But it is a bit bizarre.
Yeah, no, I mean you get dumb shit where you wonder if people genuinely believe it. Like, didn't you guys know racism was wiped out on election day in 2008? It's like, You sure about that? You sure?
Man, are you from the '90s talking about Starbucks sipping hippies? What the fuck are you talking about?
Starbucks sipping. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if the Starbucks stereotype kind of existed. You know, that far back. It's kind of combining like a 70s era stereotype with like a 2010s era stereotype.
Might as well call us tree hugging, hippies or like fucking tree bleeding hearts. I don't know.
Well, it reminds me of that that Randall Munroe comic where he talks about how like as time progresses, slang from different periods of history all sort of starts to sound equally old timey. And then he's got a comic where it's the one thespian holding the sword says like, "Forsooth, dost thou grok my jive, me hearties?" And then the assembled knights yell 10-4.
I heard somebody say that yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else did we have that we were going to look at today?
I don't know what all the titles were. I just know what mine.
Hey Ryan, how's it going? By the way.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be here.
Yeah, I agree. Sketchy Goth Hands. I agree.
While you guys decide what we're covering next, there was actually I was listening to a review of a book recently by a comedian called Deborah Francis White called Six Conversations We're Scared to Have, and she was brought up as a Jehovah's Witness, and so this is viewed through how people are sort of get into these cults, like the transphobia sort of pandemic, I guess, at this point. And she looks at the history of how that really started with the far-right religious movement coming together in the US and deciding that they were going to make it a wedge issue. And it worked really well because apparently there was always tension between certain feminists and trans rights.
Yeah.
But it was always put to the back burner because it wasn't a big issue, because trans people make up such a small percentage of the population. It was just going to be a case of attacking marginalized people. Well, they got over that, obviously, but yeah, it was basically yet another wedge issue that has come from the far right, just like I understand that abortion was many decades ago. How that wasn't.
They're very quiet on that now. Like once the Roe v. Wade thing happened, I haven't really seen many conservatives talking about.
You'd think J.K. Rowling would be tweeting about that every day.
Yeah, it's just not even. It disappeared because it became a state thing, and they just don't seem to care about it anymore. Even though the government is still doing stuff.
It's good to have states' rights.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, my
I don't
state
mean
in
to
particular. Oh, I'm sorry, Cherry. I didn't mean to talk
No,
about
it's okay. I was just gonna say I don't mean to be a hater. This is gonna be kind of rude, but like, what is it with old ass women who are no shot ever gonna have a kid again and just not giving a fuck about like abortion rights?
Right.
Because if there's any demographic, it would be like these kind of like older white conservative women. I don't know, dude.
Well,
It's
I think
just nasty.
certainly in the case of J.K. Rowling, I mean, she's British for a start, and we don't have the same issues with abortion. It's never been used as a wedge issue here, not majorly, and so I just think she doesn't care. I mean,
yeah, probably. Oh, a funny anecdote actually to lighten the mood a bit. Xander Ablaze said in chat, I'm talking about the people that are diehard Harry Potter fans that go, "I'm a Hufflepuff," and make it their personality. True story. I come from a really big like Irish Catholic family here in America. Like my parents and grandparents weren't immigrants, but like they're going back far enough. Like it's a lot of Irish immigrants in my family, and one of the funny things about that is like obviously they're very Catholic, but myself and a few of my cousins are gay, and one of my cousins, when she married her wife, they had a Harry Potter themed wedding. And this was only a few years ago. And her wife is a kind of like, I guess you'd say like soft butch, like lesbian with a Deathly Hallows tattoo. And she is not supportive of some of the J.K. Rowling nonsense. But I like that tattoo, and I told her that I liked it. Because, and a lot of people don't talk about this, but in like a lot of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter stuff, which is at this point like kind of the only good stuff she's ever written, like a lot of the other stuff has kind of been panned as like uncreative to just like unreadable, somewhere in that spectrum. So her real success was the Harry Potter books, and a certain amount of that pulls from alchemy. There's a bunch of like alchemical references in it. Obviously, the Philosopher's Stone, probably the biggest
I
one.
mean, there was a huge conservative backlash to Harry Potter. They hated that series for a while.
Oh yeah, in America because of all the witchcraft insinuations. It was banned in a lot of places. Yeah, there were a lot of attempts to like. I remember I had a friend who's her I think mother or father, I can't remember. Her family would not let her own Harry Potter books, which is just passingly kind of funny. But the Deathly Hallows symbol bears a really strong resemblance to the symbol for the Philosopher's Stone, which is, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. It's kind of like a circle with like a square and a triangle and like another square and so on.
That's right, yeah.
And the Deathly Hallows symbol kind of has the same thing going on, where there's like a circle and a triangle and a line. That symbol is an allusion to the Philosopher's Stone, and the Philosopher's Stone is in turn kind of one of the concepts of like the great work of alchemy, the idea of like unifying the fundamental elements to create like almost like a divine creative substance, like a primordial substance. And this practice of alchemy, like it kind of bears some resemblance to stuff like chemistry, but a lot of it was also like philosophical and metaphorical and spiritual. There was like a tradition of Christian alchemists, and they also believed, because in Genesis, and a lot of people don't know this, older translations of Genesis have God dividing Adam. He makes Adam in his image and he divides him. Eve comes from a side of Adam.
Is this before Phil Collins joins?
This is before the King James translation that changes Eve to be created from a rib of Adam.
I think it's funny if you go to like the online Bible resource, there's like 20 different iterations of English Bibles you can click through, and then no shortage of like other languages that have been translated over the years. It's just like non-stop translations.
This connects up to the flat Earth thing as well, which I know obviously Melanie Mack sort of has tentatively admitted that she's a flat earther.
Yeah,
a lot of them are religious, and they believe in the literal version of the Bible, where using a specific translation, they can conjure up this idea that God says the world is flat and that there's a dome over it. And if you go back beyond those translations, the wording is completely different, but they fixate on those translations, and it's fascinating to watch them jump through these hoops, because what they don't realize is that if you say that the Bible is literally true and God says that the earth is flat, and then that you prove that the earth is not flat, you then prove that God doesn't exist, if that is your belief system. So they just can't have it. And that's why a lot of them don't believe in space and don't believe that
they don't believe dinosaur bones are real.
Yeah, or they think that like space is made of water because of the firmament or like weird stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
And it all comes from firmament. And firmament apparently was a word that didn't exist 2,000 years ago. It only cropped up in fairly recent translations of the Bible. It was basically a new word, and what people who don't take the Bible literally in that same way, they understand that the firmament basically means the sky.
I think the interpretation of it and like the reinterpretation of it comes from that kind of Greco-Roman idea that like I think this was like something Aristotle believed, but like elements have kind of like a natural relative space that they prefer to occupy. So like earth sinks underwater and then like air floats above water and stuff like that. So there's this idea that like there will be like different spheres for different fundamental elements. But it's interesting, and I'm going somewhere really cute with this. You guys are gonna like this. So the Philosopher's Stone is like one of the conceptions, sometimes metaphorical, of like the great work of alchemy. But there's another one too. And this is funny because J.K. Rowling references a lot of alchemy in like alchemical philosophy, especially with the Christian component involved. The idea that Adam is divided into like Adam and Eve, and you have male and female, right? This is sort of intended to be these two halves are intended to be reunited in sometimes they call it like a rebus, sometimes they call it a divine hermaphrodite, but it's the idea that if you have male and female in one body, you're closer to the actual image of God, because the original pre-divided Adam exists in the image, was made like more one-to-one, closer to the image of God. So in other words, people with hermaphroditic traits, to use, obviously that's a kind of a slur term now, intersex traits, but a more general kind of dated term that would have kind of include at times transgender people or people who change their appearances or people who are born with different traits, different sex traits. The idea that you would be a transphobe and put imagery in your book that comes from a philosophical tradition that holds that like people who are like occupy some kind of third gender status are divine is crazy. That's crazy to me.
Well, yeah, but that goes back to the thing. Like, I think in 1997, she wasn't a transphobe. She was probably a feminist who couldn't quite square the circle, but it didn't really bother her. And then it's been turned into this giant wedge issue, and she's fallen on the side of the wedge that wishes that women were property again, and thinks that it'll never come to that. And I mean, in her case, it probably won't. She's incredibly rich.
Her audience is really divided because some people are hating it because they're calling her a feminist now, an ultra feminist, because of what she's doing with gender critical people. And then the other side is calling her transphobic because of what she's doing to trans people. So it's so disconnected, even from her own brain, out into the world. This is what a lot of the gender critical, aka transphobic groups, have an issue with, is the idea of feminism, but also anti-women's rights, which is like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? It's so ridiculous. But I wanted to bring some, I have to go here shortly, but I wanted to show something quickly before I go. So this was posted from Nedrotic today about Andor. Finally, a second lesbian kiss in Disney Star Wars. At least it's not rape.
What the fuck?
I guess it's an Andor.
Like,
okay.
So,
right.
these
guys, these are straight men who don't like lesbians. I have to remember that. It's weird.
Yeah, that is a.
I also want to point out, you do realize the comparison that he's making there. That sexual assault and lesbians fall into the same category, or at least on the ladder of things that are bad.
I mean,
that's
if
right
we're being
above that.
charitable, we can say at least he does imply that rape is worse.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
But still, they're both bad.
It's fucking disgusting. He's a fucking disgusting piece of shit, man.
I mean, it is gross. You could probably tack the second half of this tweet onto a lot of things. I feel like that is not insightful.
And in my mind, it's like, instead of saying at least not rape, which is a wild thing to say, I'd be like, well, at least it's not easily cut outable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the issue that I have with these kinds of takes is the way, the framing of what queer people are in the context of the world. Because, and I've said the same thing about Melanie Mack and a lot of these other guys, when you frame queer people as something that is as bad as something else, or closely as bad as something else, then you dehumanize an entire community.
What if we did that with YouTube grifters?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But I mean, like, for example, if you compare, even in a small way, sexual assault and a queer person, then that means if a queer person has any opinion or point of view, you're always looking at them as something below a human being.
Not only that, but I mean, like tying queer people to any kind of non-consensual sex or like PDF stuff is just as, it's been around a long time. It's a fucking tried and true fucking bigot.
100%. Yeah. And this is the part that gets to me, you know, because
what are the odds that Nedrotic follows an account that's something like, you know, I find groomers or something like that?
Well, that's the reason why they made likes invisible, because they want to make it so people can go through and like all of the stuff that they call degenerate.
They can be themselves.
And never get called out on it. Because nothing says, like, fuck your feelings more than I need a safe space. I need my likes to be hidden.
Vegans do.
What?
Huh?
Hold on, like I don't even understand what I'm reading. It's like when vegans compare chicken to
Okay, hang on, wait. No, I've heard this one. There's like a thing that happens sometimes in like vegan and like animal rights like activism where people like compare the industrialization of things like the Holocaust or like slavery to like industrial like farming and stuff like that. I get what
you're just dehumanizing black people though.
Okay,
Yeah.
It took me a second to get there. I've never heard that before though.
I've never heard it before either. I was so confused. Now I can kind of see where they're coming from. I still don't think it's
that comment probably would have benefited from a few more words.
Yeah, it rings a bell with a potential PETA campaign.
The industry is like animal exploitation, it's animal abuse, and it's all that. I would agree with that, but like, there's no need to compare it to.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, Johnny. Also, this right here from Sean. It's different with lesbians. The two girls kissing fits with most gooner fetishes, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
They want you to believe that there is a moral and ethical and sexual degeneracy in all of these things. So they have to pretend to not be into something.
I guarantee that fucking Gary, Jeremy Griggs, all these guys that are around my age, they were fucking pausing Cruel Intentions and Wild Things just like I was back in fucking middle school, high school, or whatever.
Don't forget Bound. No,
Bound. Yep, they were fucking. If they didn't have like HBO or Showtime, Cinemax or whatever, they were trying to get the fuzzy channel to pause on where you can see a nipple. 100%.
I mean, this is the whole Melanie Mac shit again, like the Razor Fist shit about like purity and like no sex in video games and shit like that. It's just it is the satanic panic, morally degenerate concepts that we had back in the day. And I think the last big one was in the 90s, where sex is only for making babies. It must be between men and women, and you can't put it in any media, and you can't even allude to it, and all of this. It's this moral high ground that they pull. It's so it is weird.
Well, I think I've earned this at this point now. So let's see. Yep.
Fuck you. With that being said, though, I have to jump out of here because I have to go work. But I'm glad that I had a chance to actually talk with Ryan and Chariot before I jump away. Because every time it's like always like I have to go. But anyway, thanks a lot, everybody, and everybody watching my channel. Be good. We have a bunch of people, almost 200 people watching.
Yeah, his channel's on fire, guys. You probably already know.
The uploads have been good lately.
Yeah, I've been trying to.
Let's have Nedrotic and Eric meet in the middle as Nedrotic is fucking going down in his. Stat.
Before you leave, DJ, I didn't get the chance to tell you about this back when I was putting this out the last time that I was on here, and you were here. But I dropped that huge like video about like anti-woke grifters, and the back end, like the last, it's like section 6 of that or whatever it is, has like a bunch of references to your videos.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of a long one. But if you're curious, that's where that is. And if other people are curious, the stuff that I thought was really good was the Nedrotic coverage about like Disney and like the budgeting and like him accusing Disney of lying and stuff like that. That I thought you really got it. You really got him good on that.
Well, I just think it's funny because I had mentioned it like earlier in the week, and then by the end of the week he was referencing it, and I'm like, "There's no way he's talking about somebody else." I'm the only person that brought it up. I saw no reference to that anywhere.
I mean,
else, so
he is well aware of us. We know this.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and everybody have a great afternoon and be good. Everybody in my channel, or you'll probably get muted for doing something. So, anyways.
Did Pillar drop his Marvel video?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe it was premiering earlier today.
Okay.
Yeah, a ton of stuff dropped just today. There's that Dead Domain video, the Pillar video. Turf recently put out that video.
Birdman as well.
Yeah, Birdman dropped like I think while you guys were starting actually.
No, I mean I saw it before I got online, so I mean it was maybe an hour or two before we got on, but yeah.
And I don't know if they're still around, but Dyad in the Force have been putting out some good stuff recently as well.
Yes.
I want to
check that out.
Watch the Turf video because he is very complimentary about you guys.
What's that? Which one? Who's complimentary?
The Turf video. The Turf stream.
I want to point out that we are seeing. I don't know about you guys. I don't want to call you out if it's not happening for you, but I'm seeing my channel is making some slight growth, seemingly with me not even being very consistent lately.
I've seen a good weird surge in growth too. I've had like,
and Eric DeBooks is definitely seeing some, and then we're looking at all the Chuds content. Something is happening, man. It's I mean it's not anything drastic. I'm not saying we're winning or anything like that, but it is notable that these things are going in different directions. Whatever rate that's happening. And I want to point out, because we've got 150 people, it's been like 160, 170 watching across 4 channels today. If you aren't a regular watcher, if you're new, I would recommend that you check out. Like if you don't understand what we're on about, you're like, where's these guys' perspectives, right? I don't even fucking get it. They're woke, but they seem like, I don't know. Well, I would recommend watching this video. You can watch it on my channel. You can watch it on I don't remember the name of it on yours, Bob. What is it?
Oh, is it the mission statement? I don't remember the name of it. It's been a while.
Everybody that's on the screen here is always linked in the description of all of the streams and videos. Whenever we do this stuff, there's several people down there that I recommend. Every single one of them. They're friends of ours, make great content, and there is a whole other world of content out there that's not this Nedrotic vibe stuff.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Explore it, man. You never know. You might find something that you agree with, or enlightens you, or opens your world up to something that isn't fucking awful and gross, like Nedrotic. All right.
And I think it's important to repeat that it's not just people praising stuff. People criticize, people that we associate with criticize things all the time, as I think Pillar of Garbage sort of proves in his Marble video. He's not soft soaping it, but it's about why you're criticizing it. You're criticizing it because there's women and black people and gay people in it, because that's just stupid. At the end of the day, that is just stupid.
Yeah,
we call our show Shillcast because it's ironic, because we get called shills. We fight against this kind of content that we do because we don't even feel we have the luxury of actually having good faith criticism whenever you've got people out there making content that just shit on the very notion of sincere criticism with their content. They're insincere, they're cynical, they're just say negative thing about popular thing, get clicks. And we need to move past that if we're going to have actually discourse about I mean, not to say we don't have discourse, we do, but yeah, I think it's something that has to be addressed as well. Anyway, I do have to get going though, because for one, my voice is getting it going out, which I knew it would, and it's also my partner's birthday, so I'm going to go do some stuff with her.
What?
Yeah,
where are your priorities?
I know. I'm a real piece of shit.
I wanted to say actually about what Ryan said. There's a really good, like, I know that on this show you guys talk a lot about like films and TV shows and comics and stuff like that. But for anybody who's really into like gaming spaces on YouTube, there is a video by a channel called Gred Glintstone. It's a play on Fred Flintstone, but it's like the Glintstones from Elden Ring. He has a video. It's like 2 hours long. So it's called something. Hang on, I can pull it up right here. It's like something about like media critique.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that I think we've got a little bit of a blind spot for, just because we're all incredibly old men, and
yeah. Sorry, not that. I just realized out of context it sounded like I was calling you old. That's my bad.
No.
No, I just said that because I found I found what I was looking for.
Yeah, it's weird how many Chud channels that we don't cover gaming, and there's some overlap, obviously.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of people pushing back against that as well, because there's been a lot of public fallout from Chuds just lying, and apparently the people in the gaming community are a lot stronger at fighting that back, even if they're not particularly politically inclined.
Yeah, I mean, for better and for worse, right? Because I think that like when Anita Sarkeesian was making videos, if she got something wrong in the video, people would really harp on that, because like gaming communities have kind of a lust for exposing misinformation about games that they like, because it's kind of normal to be hung up on like a boss in a video game, and you're like, how do I beat this boss fight? And you go online and a bunch of people say a bunch of different things. So I think there's a readily combative atmosphere for that sort of thing. But then the flip side is you get stuff like when Elon Musk was cheating at Path of Exile, and probably also a lot of other video games as well. There's been some really sound and like well evidenced call outs of that. But yeah, the Greg Glinstone video is called The Lost Art of Video Game Critique. I definitely recommend that to people.
Cool. I'm going to get going though, guys. It was always a pleasure. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day and week. And I will be on Friday with new music. I keep kind of kicking the can down the road when I'm going to debut some new music and stuff. But if you follow me on Patreon, you can already listen to some of that. And if you are a paid supporter on Patreon, you get all of my music for free. Download it. Got lots of music up there. So, yeah, have a good one,
That's
guys.
dope.
Later.
See you later.
Later. Well, I mean,
and happy birthday to Jen too.
Yes, happy birthday.
Yeah.
I had a couple of stories to go over. We can go over real quickly. I will say this first one I have
That's
here.
all right.
I don't know.
Don't feel the need to rush.
This one I just think is more important. I know it's probably less what our audience is looking for, but I think it's important to talk about this one. Producer for 60 Minutes, Bill Owens, resigned. And they end up doing a story about him resigning. Essentially, he resigned because 60 Minutes has losing the ability to do independent decisions. Pretty much the implication is that Paramount Global is influencing CBS News, which is influencing 60 Minutes with the goal of appeasing Donald Trump, which is, again, this is something we knew was going on, but this is more concrete evidence that we know is happening.
And as horrible as it is, on the one hand, I kind of see where they're coming from, because I mean, he's recently gone after Fox News because they put a poll up that was unflattering to him.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, this is basically what it's like when you've got big corporations under the boot heel of a fascist.
Yeah, this is straight from the fascism playbook as well. It's disturbing stuff. Did you want to add anything to this, Chariot?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of, I guess, like you said, we were kind of expecting this. It does feel a little bit in line with the news about the Washington Post that came out a while back. People were sharing a lot of posts when Trump was being sworn in, where they said, "Do not comply in advance." I think that's good advice, but of course, if you're a corporation, people always say corporations are not your friends.
True.
These are the organizations that are going to comply in advance if their first concern is making money. My thought on that has always been, like, rationally speaking, and I'm not saying this is what we're looking at right now, just to be clear, but if there was an American Holocaust, most American companies would not be opposing it. They would, best case scenario, they would be kind of ignoring it.
Yes.
The way that, like, authoritarian governments that persecute vulnerable members of their communities, citizens or non-citizens, really, kind of cooperate with moneyed interests is, I think, pretty consistent. Like, I have been a pretty big critic of capitalism for years now. That's been a huge part of my digital footprint. And I think one of the things that that I've had a hard time communicating to people is that, for better or for worse, there's a strong sentiment that the current economic system is basically the best one that we've ever had, and it's been hugely developmental to a lot of great advances in society, and there's a lot of good that's been done, and it's kind of difficult to imagine any possible alternative for it. And frankly, I'd be willing to concede 100% of that. But I would add on that if you're seeing something really bad that's about to happen, if you're seeing that people are about to be persecuted for their beliefs, for their identities, especially at scale, we're seeing kind of some early signs of that with the ICE deportations that are happening right now. But this is something that can get a lot worse. And it's we're going to see a shift probably, if it does, from corporations are not your friends to corporations are your capos. Corporations are your SS officers. They're a lot more than not your friends.
Yes.
And this is historically has always been the case. You have to, if you want to go back to World War II, Warner Brothers were the only studio that were willing to put out anti-Nazi films before America entered the war, and they took a principled stand. And as it happened, it didn't affect their bottom line too much because Germany wasn't that big of a market. But none of the other studios were willing to put out anything critiquing Nazism before America entered the war. We saw what happened. What's continuing to happen with the backlash against Disney, who were by no means a good company, but they did tacit support for the gay community, and that has fueled the Chuds to this day for hating Disney. They will never forget that until it ceases to be profitable for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why most businesses, most corporate entities say nothing about anything unless they have to.
True. So the next story I had lined up was not too shocking. I actually don't have a whole lot to say about it. Vince Vaughn visits Donald Trump, and we've always kind of known Vince Vaughn is a chud, but like he had some takes recently that shocked me with how nuanced they were. Like I think he went on, I want to say it was even Hot Ones, and he was asked why do you think movies aren't doing as well? A lot of movies aren't doing as well. And essentially his take was, I was expecting him, knowing like his background in politics, that like he'd be like DEI or some shit. But he actually was just like, well, franchises are he actually had the nuanced, thoughtful take, which shocked me. But here he is simping for Trump. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I guess like two things. One, on this, it would kind of make sense for him to have more nuanced views about his industry, and then maybe pay less attention to the consequences for other people in other industries. I can't speak to his mindset, but if that was the case, I don't think it would be surprising. I think that's the case for a lot of people. I do want to respond to somebody in chat real quick, who said, that's funny because the complete opposite was happening before the Orange Pimp was elected. Every leftist was championing corporations that used LGBTQ flags and pushed progressive ideologies for profit, of course, but the left was very supporting too of the corporations and cheered this. Now they are just looking for money and doing a 180. But every time all of you, right or left, are championing corporations, well, they remove all your rights. So let me just say real quick, we live under capitalism, right?
Yeah.
Let's say, for the sake of argument, that you want to support something that I make, right? I'm a transgender creator, I'm a gay creator, and I want to write a book, and I'm going to be an indie author, and it's got transgender and gay stuff in it, right? And you want to be supportive of that. Well, you might think like you're not supporting a corporation, but if I got it published through a publisher, or if I had it hosted on like itch.io or like Amazon, the Kindle Direct Publishing, then you kind of would be in a lot of ways. And I just want to sit with that for a second and kind of tell you, like, this is a you live in society kind of remark. As somebody who has been relatively active in the queer community for a relatively long time, something that is astounding to me is the perception people have of us, that we just cheer for corporations when they wave rainbow flags.
Yeah.
This is not true. Like a ton of us have for a very long time, and especially the more left-wing you are, the more this is true in the queer community. We hate that there are corporations who have pride floats at parades. It's not good. We find it a little disrespectful because we think that they're just there to make money off of us and they don't really care about the community. So this idea like every leftist was cheering for this, that's not true. That's not true. I don't even know if you could say that's true of literally every right-winger, because even people with disgusting right-wing views still have idiosyncratic beliefs.
I mean, the whole argument that like the left supports corporations back before Trump, listen, you misunderstand the argument if you think that's it. The fact is, before Trump, I mean, number one, a lot of the political stances corporations took were different. But like, if you're talking about like a lot of the content I did, I got criticized saying, "Oh, you're just supporting Disney and corporations." No, I'm supporting artists and supporting looking at the art reasonably. You're allowed to pan shit. Just do it honestly. Do it
Well, yeah, and
respectfully.
that's what it's all about. I mean, the furore that the Chudge went on about Disney not caring about the Chinese posters being changed.
Yeah.
And whenever you actually look into that, I think every single one of those has been debunked.
Yeah, it's all a big. It's largely nothing.
Because even going back as far as the John Boyega on the Star Wars poster, yes, they made him smaller on that poster, but he also had his own character poster, which he didn't have in the US. And it's the same with the Black Panther one. It was it's all fabricated.
Yeah, it's all just crap. And then one person I want to respond to, not directly, but just say, "Hey, I see you. Hey, dude, you know my email. You can come on after stream. I'll talk to you, or you can come on tomorrow. You know the email."
Yeah, it's interesting. He says that on the day where a woman and her kids in Oklahoma were busted by ICE, despite it being the wrong family, and were treated like criminals and had their phones, all their computer devices, their money taken away from them, because the warrant that ICE had was for a completely wrong address, and they were just allowed to do it with support from the feds, and so.
Trump so far probably has the most amount of deportations of legal, maybe not citizens, but legal residents. Yeah. But anyways, the last one I have here is just something we can all laugh at. Ha 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 ha. No, what was this guy called? Golden shower? Yeah, golden.
I was about to answer. My dumbass was about to answer.
Oh, yeah. So fucking Yellow Fash's World War II Power Ranger comic book, not doing great. And I am just laughing all the way. This comic book looked awful, and I'll be honest, the fact that this is doing so poorly. And I think Yellow Fash's YouTube channel might actually be wow, this art is not thrilling me at all. Oh God, it is a Power Ranger thing. Jesus Christ. I think Yellow Fash's YouTube channel is bigger or comparable to Eric July. But of course, Yellow Fash, I don't believe works for the Blaze, so maybe that hurts him. I'm not implying that Eric July got money sifted into his comic book from the Blaze until now. But yes.
I've got some more interesting news on a similar theme. I've just dropped the link in the private chat if you want to bring that up, Bob.
Hold on.
Ooh. What is this? A Kickstarter page? Oh, my favorite YouTube film critic is crowdfunding.
I haven't really had a chance to talk about this. Yeah.
With less than 24 hours to go, if you'd like to check how much the project has brought in, scroll to the top, I think.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Oh, here we go.
So that's the US figure. I've got the UK figure on mine, but it's currently at 280 on the UK figure, £280,000, which is 80,000 more than he asked for. But I don't believe it's enough to meet their first stretch goal, and it's also 10% less than he raised last time.
Well, let's face it, Rogue. Well, I mean, I think it's interesting. So he wants to do a series of short films based on this fundraiser, but he only did one on the last one, and that was pretty much slammed by most everybody.
They're making 3. The first one is Frost's story, the girl who was definitely not a girl boss, and they're making Mauler's short film, and they're making a short film that the audience, he's got one of the audience members is going to give to them. But what's interesting is the actual raw numbers, because, like I said, last time in UK terms, he got £303,000, and this time he's only managed to get 280. And the number of backers last time was 5,200. I don't know how many backers has he got for this one. I think it's about 1,000, half as many.
Wait, hang on. Can you scroll back up to the cast of the new Ryan Drake film? The cast is back.
They're all coming back.
Apart from is back, but only those 3 people.
That's so interesting. Everyone had such a great experience on Rogue Elements that they were eager to come back. They loved the material, the team, and the chance to further explore these characters. Does that include the woman that he took a massive shit on in that YouTube video?
Yeah.
I can only assume she's not coming back.
Well, she's not one of the ones listed. These 3 are the ones listed. So it's like the 3 main ones on the team.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the stretch goals are to make one about Drake and one about the Dietrich character. The actual film that they'll be making is about this Frost character. So why on earth aren't you making it about Drake? Why is that a stretch goal? I cannot understand the thinking behind that.
So Frost was is that Frost, or is Frost the other woman?
Frost is the dark-haired woman.
Oh, okay. Frost is the dark-haired woman. So I honestly, I'd be interested in the backstory with the blonde woman that he shit on. But I was like,
But she wasn't a good enough actor to deliver his brilliant dialogue.
Hey, if this next Drinker film kind of flops, and he does another weird backpedal about it, can we petition him? Maybe we can do our own Kickstarter and petition him to re-release all of the Ryan Drake novels under a new series title, The Stillborn Identity.
Oh no, sorry, what's the US? I think he's made enough to make the first stretch goal, because that's in dollars.
US is 375 out of
so he's just made enough to get the Dietrich short film funded. He's made it to that, but still, I just think it's interesting that for this new project, he's got half as many backers and has made less than the original.
Well, it looks like they're all like 15-minute shorts, and like the Mahler one just sounds like a conversation, which, I mean, if it was someone besides Mahler, maybe it'd be fine. Like conversation, I'll be honest, when you do something with like a conversation, it can work, but it depends entirely on your actors.
A film with 2 characters speaking to each other in a single room with like that static setting and those 2 characters, there's no shot he fucks that up. There's no way.
No, it's
like with the funding and the time and the energy, like there's no shot.
And Jason Fleming is a good actor as well, so they've obviously they're stumping up for him. Although I don't think he would be particularly expensive, from what I know about sort of.
Well, I mean, you could. Yeah, I mean, there's 12 Angry Men is the big examples. There's also let's talk about Oleana, which is another fantastic movie. You can make it work, but you need like powerhouses.
The other thing is, they always say, certainly for a first project, you should write what you know. So I'll be interested to know how much Mahler gets into the world of the mob.
Yeah. And the fact that the first Critical Drinker movie was just such a fucking nowhere burger.
But it wasn't his fault. He got given all that money and he had to make it 45 minutes long.
That dumb bitch of an actress couldn't read her lines. It's like he's arguing for nuanced, thoughtful, like, there's stuff that went wrong and I couldn't control it. It's like, you do know that that's what happens on like old projects, right? That's my God.
I just, I do have a rule, like a personal rule about stuff like this, where I do not go after, like individual creatives. And I still like in my content, like I'm not gonna like make videos dancing on Drinker's grave, like Will Jordan can make whatever he wants. But I will say, like, watching this and looking at the amount of money that he gets for this, and then thinking also about the amount of money that he's gotten tearing people down.
Yeah.
For, tearing down people who are, and a lot of them more talented, more qualified. Like I don't recall what it was. I believe he weighed in on this when Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy was getting floated to direct the Ray film. Do you guys remember this? Like, there was a ton of discourse about this. People were lying about her. It was super duper bad. Like, the big one that I remember was Star Wars Theory, but I kind of vaguely think did Will tweet about it? What was it? He said something. I
seems
think
familiar.
He did. Yeah, I have not. Can you tell I haven't been using Twitter much? But like at the time, I think I was, and I kind of vaguely feel like I remember him saying something somewhere about the idea of a Ray film. And he's so uncharitable, just like in a way that does not make sense, in the slightest. Even when you're analyzing something that's coming from like something like the Walt Disney Company. I mean, it's super interesting. I like that. Thank you, Alpha Eagle. Tearing people down, you mean criticizing people? No, I don't mean that. Thank you for asking, I guess. No, I don't mean that. I have a rule about not tearing people down. I don't have a rule about not criticizing people. I don't like being pointlessly negative about stuff, which is why I would not like make a bunch of videos being like, Drinker film looks really bad, Drinker film gonna fail, Drinker blah blah blah. No. I like that.
And that's the thing.
I don't have it in me.
If he hadn't built his entire career and fan base on saying why other people are incapable of making good films and then made a bad film and then complains that it wasn't all his fault without giving even an ounce of that charitability to anything that he criticizes, and in fact going after them, criticizing them for the very things he was criticized for. That's the problem with it. There are hundreds of indie book projects that I would completely back, but this isn't one of them, and this isn't an indie project either. If you look at the figures, it's not an indie project. He's been funded by very wealthy people. He's been funded by half as many people as last time.
Huh.
You said it's like half as many donors, but like maybe 10% less raised. Was
Yeah,
that what you said earlier?
That's roughly the figures. Yeah, he had 5,200 backers for the first project. So
yeah, so a few people probably are really carrying this one. I don't know. I mean,
the first tiers that filled up were the $5,000 tiers.
Interesting. Yeah. Listen, do I know these are going to suck? Is Will Jordan going to learn from his mistakes from his last one? Who knows? Maybe. I don't have high hopes, but yeah.
Well, look at it this way: if it's as bad as last time, you could just go in the same way and blame everybody else.
It was that damn actor I hired. The fuck. That video was so cringe. I was a little bit upset that I was off that week when that video went out there, because I was like, my God, bro, that was so bad.
The only other thing I wanted to perhaps talk about was I've posted the link to that as well, is the Q1 box office grosses by year, which I think are interesting to look at, because in 2005 there was a weird blip where the box office was significantly down, and that happens to be the year that Revenge of the Sith came out.
Oh, that's interesting.
But the quarterly, if you look at the quarterly figures, because the Revenge of the Sith came out in May, so this only goes January through March. If you look at the quarterly figures for 2005, pretty much on track with the rest of the year, slightly down on the previous year, not too far behind what would follow. And it ended up being significantly worse box office year than what was a steady increase from 2006 to 2019. There was a year-on-year increase in box office numbers. Then obviously the pandemic killed everything.
Yes.
And that's although even the first quarter of the pandemic, before everybody went into lockdown, was pretty healthy. Sort of January, February, and then obviously we see the drop off in 2021 and how it's gone up from there. Now 2025 isn't looking great so far, 11% decrease in the first quarter. But again, 2024, it's not that far behind 2024, and 2024 was a bigger box office year than 2005. So the fact is that these figures basically mean nothing. You can't look at a quarter. You can't look at a year, really, to tell you how well films are performing, because it is completely irrelevant to the quality of films. It's just money.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always felt that was the case with a lot of these observations about like what makes money and what doesn't. Is it's basically like it's just like majoritarian thinking about the arts, except not even like majoritarian, because like technically it's just weighted by who's willing to spend money on a thing, not even who's willing to say that they like it. So it's it's very weird, a very weird way to judge artistic quality.
I mean, the thing that always drives me nuts is when they talk this way. It's like, okay, so using your logic, Avatar and Avengers Endgame, movies I like, you're arguing that they're the best movies ever made? Like, not even close. Not even.
And the funny thing is, 2019, the year that Endgame came out, box office was slightly down on 2018. So the biggest movie of the year basically stopped a lot of people from going to other movies because it was in the theaters for so long. So there's lots of different variations. But like I said, it's interesting that the blip, it was about 500 million down on 2005 compared with 2004. So yeah, pick any year. Like, I know people love the box office of 1985. There were some fantastic films that came out in 85, including Back to the Future, which was the highest performing film of that year. It was a dip in the box office on the 1984. So you really, any of these chud channels that try and say that box office determines anything other than the amount of money that a studio makes is completely wrong. And they're probably trying to con you.
I don't know what you're talking about, because Rambo First Blood Part 2 is pure art. Listen, I will admit I enjoy Rambo First Blood Part 2, but it is dumb. It takes what is actually kind of a wild drama of First Blood and turns it into a really dumb war action movie. It's entertaining and a lot better than Rainbow 3.
I mean, there's a good chance that the biggest movie of this year is going to be the Minecraft movie.
Oh yeah, that has a strong possibility. Where's that at right now?
I think it's
816. It's gonna break 1 billion easy, which I thought would probably break 1 billion, but Jesus Christ. Yeah, so well, I mean, this is obviously the best movie of the year, right? Quality wise, no movie will be better. But yeah, this over reliance on numbers is absolutely baffling.
Yeah, I haven't even, to be honest, I've been worried so much about like video game releases. I haven't kept up with new film releases for this year.
Mm-hmm.
Shows what an asset I am, I guess, to this show.
My son wanted to see Minecraft, so I did see it, and I felt old in that movie theater. I felt so old.
Was it? I feel like if I ask, was the Minecraft movie good? I'm stepping on some
I was
landmine
bored
critically.
But, like there's stuff happening in that movie, and the audience is cheering, and I'm just like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like the chicken jockey popped up, and everybody's cheering, and I'm like, okay. Like I get it's a reference to the game, but why are we cheering that this just exists in this movie? Because it just stuff will just exist.
Yeah. I heard
And the other thing to say,
like say, I think they were on Blue Sky. They posted like that they were in the theater and they were watching. They were there to see something else, and they heard like 100 people scream "chicken jockey" at the top of their lungs, like through the walls of the theater.
Yeah, and it's like, okay. Listen, we got the Lava Chicken song. It's amazing.
well, the other interesting thing about the box office numbers is the amount of films coming out. So, and that's like last year there were 675 releases, but pre-pandemic in 2019 there were 910. So there's still the amount of films is still not back to pre-pandemic levels.
That's interesting.
Which is, I think that is. It's interesting to us. I don't think it's interesting.
Of course, I think a huge impact of that would be the strikes. Of course, they got a huge slowdown for about a year where they weren't really able to make anything. They had to spread it out. So I mean, there's tons of nuance. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say the strikes? I meant wokeness. Wokeness. They had to stop movies and make them woke. That's.
I'm going on a wokeness strike. I'm gonna sleep.
Yes.
I'm gonna be so sleep.
Oh God. But judging movies by numbers is insanity. But that's kind of all I wanted to cover. Do you guys have anything else you want to go over?
No, I got my two pieces, my 2 cents out there.
Blood. Yes,
dropping
Blood
a
Video
video
Company.
tomorrow.
I know it's a game reference. I know.
Yeah, it's a Minecraft reference.
Yeah, I understood that. But I will be live tomorrow covering some comic books. Assuming my daughter doesn't text me last minute and be like, "Oh, I have a performance," I will be live tomorrow. I haven't seen anything. I just checked my text. He hasn't sent me anything. I should be good for going live tomorrow. And then my Captain America video hopefully will come out soon. I'm almost done with it. It just I want I've waited so long. I just want to make sure it's in good shape before I send it out. But and I got comic book. Yeah, I already have my screen up. That is not what I'm looking for. Let me go ahead and bring up my comic book poll. Yeah, I was looking up the new comic book poll is up. This is for next Thursday. What backlog book looks like? Daredevil Cold Day in Hell is winning, but we only got 11 votes in. These things regularly get over 100, so it's anybody's game at this point. And I'm excited to see Thunderbolts as well. Thunderbolts will be covered on the podcast this Monday, along with
I'll be going to
Last
see
of Us.
I'll be going to see Thunderbolts far too early on Friday morning at the ungodly hour at 9:30.
9:30. I will be not almost off my day of work, but I guess assuming that we're working on the same time zone, which we're not, I will be more than halfway through my work shift at 9. But yes, we'll go over Thunderbolts, we'll go over Last of Us, and we'll go over Andor, which is a series that Bobby does not enjoy and I think is awesome.
We haven't started watching it yet. We'll be starting because my partner's in work on May the 4th. We'll be watching it on May the 2nd. So
far, I think it's excellent.
Oh, I'm sure it is. It's. I feel like that and Thunderbolts, if it is potentially not as much fun as some of the other Marvel movies, that could be a depressing 24 hours with
maybe I'm just ignorant, but it almost kind of feels like tonally from the trailers that I've seen, at least it almost kind of feels like they're going for like a more Marvel-esque kind of equivalent to like what DC has in like Suicide Squad.
I think
That's what it
tonally,
feels like, but also like the reviews seem to be like it takes itself more seriously than the trailers indicate. I kind of hope it's a solid mix of being
I was
serious,
thinking
but
it looked more
also
serious
having
than like
some
a
fun.
Deadpool.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, yeah. I would assume so, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So, anything you guys want to pitch, or should we go ahead and sign out?
no, that's all from me. I'll be doing the usual. So
Yeah, I'm dropping new
Guys-
stuff tomorrow and then next week as well.
Excellent. We got Chariot over here. We got Nothing But Media over here. We had Actual Fandom earlier. We had Eric's Reload, Eric's Debunks. Like and subscribe to all of them. There's also a list of channels in the description. Like and subscribe to all of them. Like and subscribe to this video. Thank you so much for joining us. Party on. Be excellent to each other.
And do not do your homework without wearing headphones.
True. Absolutely true.
Welcome to every video we make. We use one little thing and then we build the narrative out of it. Brie Larson says one fucking thing and we make a whole video out of it. That's what we do.
Words are flowing out like woke Mary Sue, objective truth. They don't mean much, but nothing ever does across the grift of
All right, you assholes.
You can pick up the softback trade paper.
The what now?
How do you do, fellow kids?
The what?